Well, hello Internet and welcome to my sales and closing strategy tutorial. This is going to be a 7-part tutorial on how to dramatically improve your sales. Today I'm going to focus in on figuring out why people decide to buy from you. However, before you watch this video, you technically should check out the video Get People to Like You, which is all about rapport strategies. You have to completely understand rapport to be able to sell effectively. John P. wrote in and said, "Can you provide a selling system and sales script I can use? I need sales strategies that work. I prefer selling value, but I'm open to any ideas. Any tips on cold calling as well?" Well, John P., I already did 2 tutorials on cold calling. I used to write scripts for major corporations that they used for telemarketing efforts. Here I'm going to cover pre-programmed responses, fact finders, identifying needs, handling objections, and closing strategies. All people have pre-programmed responses to certain situations. These automatic responses tend to be learned rather than pre-programmed at birth. For example, each person has pre-built beliefs that they use to make decisions such as expensive equals good, educated equals intelligence, long lines at a store mean popular, size equals strength, and expert opinions equal true. When people hear words unconsciously, they picture that word in their mind in a certain way. You should get others to associate good feelings in relation to your product or service by comparing those benefits most important to them with what you're selling. And if you create good rapport, this should be very easy for you. Again, to learn how to create good rapport with people, check out Get People to Like You. It's on YouTube as well as articles on my site at newthinktank.com. Now I'm going to briefly go over the yes set, and in a tutorial that's coming up, I'm going to completely go over it, but this is still important information to understand. When this technique is used in connection with the creation of a yes mindset, it is easy to get others to see things your way. The creation of a yes mindset is accomplished by getting a person to agree with your comments multiple times. This will then get them to be more open to listening to your benefits, or listening to you, period. Another way people make decisions is based off of returning a favor for a favor. The need to return a favor is ingrained in us. If as a society we all just did what is best for us alone, we would have never grown. It's only by working together that we have been able to create the world we now have. If at all possible, try and use this technique to build your relationship with a prospect. But make sure that your gift is not too large. You never want the prospect to look at the gift as a bribe. We also have a dramatic need to maintain consistency throughout our lives. Once we have made a decision to do something, we feel a great deal of pressure to continue doing it. In fact, acting in a consistent manner just makes sense. The opposite would be a person that constantly changes their mind. As with all the other techniques we use to make decisions, they are used to save us time and uncomplicate our lives, period. Research has also shown that if something stands to impede our ability to follow consistency, we will do whatever we can to stay on the current track. This is one of the most important rules you need to learn in this presentation. In your presentation, you must prove you're selling consistency. All you're selling is their ability to continue on their chosen path. If you get that, your sales are going to dramatically increase. You get them to feel that your advice is consistent with their past actions by confirming that they took specific actions in their past that led them to this point and indeed to buy the product or service that you're now offering them. Here's an example of how you could use consistency to sell. I could say, you bought your accounting software because it allowed you to maintain orderly financials. You stated this as important because it saved you time in the long run. Because time is money, the more time you save will equal more money in your pocket. Hence, when my product saves you 300 hours per year, it will pay for itself in 3 months. On top of that, you can see that after 3 months, my product will be making you money, right? Here are a couple other consistency tips. It is important that they positively affirm each statement you make as you're describing what you're doing for them. You need to get them to commit that yes, that statement is true after each statement. And you have to understand, by getting someone to make many commitments throughout a sales call, we dramatically increase the chance that they will agree to a final sale. Remember always that any commitment or sale, no matter how small, is the beginning of all those that follow. The best types of commitments are non-coerced, made in front of others, written down, requires a little bit of effort, and of course is freely chosen. Bandwagoning is another way that we make decisions. We determined what is correct by finding out what the majority of people are doing. In fact, 95% of people imitate the actions of others rather than try and initiate their own solutions. The degree to which we will follow others' actions immediately is directly related to the degree of uncertainty we feel. And indeed, if we feel that people of the same social status as us are doing something, we are also more likely and feel more comfortable following their lead. What you must ask yourself is, how can you present your product or service to induce the need to follow the herd? We have a deep-seated sense of duty to follow those in a position of authority. People have actually gone to almost any lengths on the command of an authority. In fact, we are actually trained from birth that this principle is more important than any other. We are taught that we should be obedient to proper authorities, and disobedience is wrong. So what you must do is figure out how to present your product or service in a way to induce the need to follow an authority. We also, of course, buy from people we like. This is why so many salespeople ask for referrals from a person after they buy a product or service from us. With a referral in hand, we can now approach a person not as a stranger, but as a person their friend said they should meet with. I did a whole entire tutorial on referral strategies. You should definitely take a look at that if you want to improve your referrals. And if a referral was to turn away the salesperson under these circumstances, it is as if they have actually turned away their trusted friend. Research, in fact, has proven that a person armed with a referral versus one that doesn't increases their chances to make a sale by 50%. So make sure you get as many referrals as possible. People also have a hard time resisting not taking advantage of an opportunity if they believe they won't get a chance to get it again. Even flawed items are in great demand today if they have but one quality: scarcity. These actions come down to one guiding principle. People seem to be more motivated by the thought of losing something than they are interested in buying something of equal value. This principle is especially true in those circumstances of uncertainty. Loss plays a large role in all human decisions. Research has shown that if we tell someone that an item is in short supply or the cost of manufacturing the product is going to go up, you're almost guaranteed that they'll buy more of it. Here's an appliance store example that's often used. First off, a salesperson sees you looking at a product. They walk up and state, "I see you're looking at that." They then review the advantages of the product. They then either tell you, "Nah, sorry to tell you that one's sold," or "The sale ends today," or "Let me see if we have any of those left." You've basically just sold the person. You walked up, you told them how great it was, and then you told them they couldn't have it. This is something that's used or was used very often in the past in appliance store sales or any high value sales such as that. The greatest obstacle to a salesperson is the dreaded "we have to think about it." The best defense of that objection is to prove that unless they make an immediate decision to buy, they will have to purchase the item at a higher price later, or they will lose the opportunity to buy it altogether. You might be asking yourself, why is the scarcity principle such a powerful part of our decision making? It's really easy. We know that the harder it is to obtain something, the better the item is. So if you can convince a customer that something is scarce and hard to get a hold of, they instantly see it as a quality item. Even stronger is our need for freedom. If an opportunity becomes less available, we lose the freedom to get what we want. When free choice is limited, the need to retain our freedoms makes us go absolutely wild. And what drives us to want something more at this point is purely psychological. To make sense of our heightened craze, our brain begins to assign positive qualities to the product that may not even exist. And in fact, if we actually see something become scarce right before our eyes, we will want it more than if it is something that has always been seen as scarce. For example, how would we feel if we saw a pack of people descend on a product right before our eyes? Let us say that only one of those items was left in the aftermath. How hard would it be for you to ignore that product and just move on? Stores take advantage of the scarcity principle every single Christmas when they list their products are drastically reduced and have signs on them that say quantities limited. Normal everyday people were so crazed that they actually stampeded over others to get those products. There may in fact be no other motivating factor stronger than the pairing of scarcity and rivalry. And if you can throw in a loss of freedom, you really have something. So you as a salesperson must figure out how you can utilize the scarcity principle to speed up the sales process. In part 2 of my sales and closing strategies, I'm going to show you exactly how to figure out why people will decide to buy from you, period. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Till next time.